Hello and welcome to So Farscape,
A fun-filled Farscape fancast by a fervent fan.
and a fascinated first-timer.
I'm Kaki.
I'm Kay,
and this is the story So Farscape. Ooh, we're back into it. We're back into where Farscape all began with wormholes and aliens and even translator microbes.
Yes, we have episode 303, Coulda, Woulda, Shoulda, or Self-Inflicted Wounds Part
1.
Yes, we have another two-parter.
Or do we?
Felt it coming.
Yes.
Well, at least
Yes, we
two-parter.
do.
Oh. I was going to say, I mean, they probably could milk it for another third, but I don't think. It was kind of like, I think it was only about three-quarters through the episode that I started sitting there going like, okay, this is probably going to be a two-parter.
Yeah, we're not resolving it, are we?
Because there are, I mean, right up to that point, they could have kind of pulled a quick resolve out. And like, oh, suddenly it's all
Right,
a Star Trek,
yes.
a Star Trekian resolve. You know, suddenly it's all fixed. We arrive at the conclusion just as the show is about to end. How convenient how that always happens.
Yeah, the big red reset button, even
Yeah.
on Voyager. Convenient. Oh, no, that's uncharitable. Obviously, a lot of these stories were really excellent for their time, but this is Farscape. And Farscape was still sort of like bucking that trend. It had found its footing in the latter stages of Season 1, really soared in Season 2, and was now, like, this was sort of treated as the middle season concept.
Okay, yeah.
Farscape was really building on its strengths and really separating itself from other science fiction that had emerged in the meantime. I think this was also around the time that, Andromeda? I think that had just come out.
I heard the name.
Yeah, that was... it was an interesting series based on a premise left over by the late Gene Roddenberry and given form by Robert Hewitt Wolfe, and then ruined by confirmed shithead Kevin Sorbo, who's just bad.
So yes, I thought it was a great episode. This one.
Yes, let's
not
delve into
jump
it.
ahead of things, but I thought it was it was solid. It was entertaining.
Yeah.
It was episode 303, Coulda, Woulda, Shoulda, in which, and we have some synopsises sent in by our lovely listeners.
Thank you.
First one is by Jenna. An old friend contemplates death, a new one contemplates murder, and there are more than 3 stooges at the drive-in.
Billy Roberts returns with, while looking for a planet for Zhaan to heal on, Moya gets into a fender-bender. Although he writes finder-bender, which...
Yeah.
Interesting. While arguing over insurance information, Moya and Pilot are in danger. Gianna and Jothi get to know each other on a personal level. I think he's mistaking...
I was going to say.
Yeah, I think maybe, just like me, he had a little, his brain got a little confused. And John sees the Three Stooges. Thank you, Billy Roberts.
I don't get the Three Stooges thing. This is like the second person who says the Three Stooges.
Oh, well, we'll have to get to the end of this episode and
Right.
reveal that then.
And Dreamscaper says, 3 Stooges lead wormhole experts into each other. Which ship to take and which is more important? Just watch out for head spikes.
Oh.
Or are we referring to all the physical comedy-ish which is happening in this episode?
Okay, otherwise it's just going to frustrate you.
Yeah.
Do you remember how at the very end, John is looking through the Niala's gizmo, the sort of three-dimensional space Rubik's Cube?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a black and white image that he freezes on.
Right.
That's the Three Stooges.
Ah, okay. I was trying to picture that. I was wondering if it was some sort of like iconic photo from human history that I didn't recognize.
Ah, right.
And I just must have not recognized it for being the Three Stooges.
And Three Stooges is also, coulda, woulda, shoulda, was also a Three Stooges routine.
Right. I was thinking like it could have been like a reference to the way Rygel gets treated around, although that's a little bit beyond Three Stooges territory. He gets smacked around this episode.
And he finally, he's had enough.
Ish.
Yeah, like he normally he just sort of takes it and grumbles like a Muppet.
Oh, but this is a Muppet movie. It's much more realistic and romantic, okay?
Yeah.
But no, he's quite miffed this time around. I suspect that we're going to have to invoke the Treaty of Mintaka 4 and just skip sort of back and forth a little bit every now and again.
Although, you say he's a bit miffed, but I think that he's finally saying the quiet parts out loud. That's more my take on Rygel.
I think that's very fair. Gosh, okay. Do we have major threads that we're going to follow? Are we going to take them apart like that? I think we should go beat by beat and then just follow the threads as they occur to us.
Yeah, it comes out pretty
because a lot happens in this episode.
Yeah.
There's another one written by David Kemper, which I always love his dialogue, especially the dialogue that he gives to the aliens in this case, because we open with...
yes, Dargo subtweeting at Chana.
Yes.
Death isn't always a bad thing, Aaron. Who wants to live when your place in the universe has been suspended?
being a little bit passive aggressive there. But actually, we open with a to me familiar shot. It's the shot that IET opened with.
Oh,
we
okay.
have some large moons or perhaps a second planetoid.
Did they actually reuse the entire shot, or
Yeah.
did they redo the shot?
Completely reused it.
Okay.
That occurs a few times. It's not uncommon for science fiction shows to recycle existing shots.
Oh, of course not. Just look at Battlestar Galactica.
Battlestar
They
Galactica.
pulled out an entire season of that. I mean, the original Battlestar Galactica is what we're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
They had just had one shot of a Viper going left, and then they mirrored it.
It's economical. I mean, Star Trek: The Next Generation originally did that as well. They hired Industrial Light and Magic to do all the special effects and the ship shots for the first episode. Encounter at Farpoint, nerd points for me. And like they spent a lot of money getting ILM to produce like 6 minutes worth of these shots that they then reused for the rest of the series.
So, Dargo and
Aaron
are moving the last of the pods around with the last of the people that were rescued from the ice planet.
with the intent. Okay, no, hold on. Now I'm a little bit confused because they're moving this last pod, which contains a still frozen Interon.
Red Sonja? Or is that her?
Yes, I think that's the one. I saw a transcript from an internet relay chat from about 2001 with, I think it was Lily Taylor. She's formerly one of the producers and now also a scriptwriter, where she was asked about, like, is it Interion or is it Interon? Well, it's spelled Interion, she says, but it's got a silent I in the middle.
Well, it's called an Interon.
The Interons.
Why?
So yes, this last Interon, but Dargo is complaining that they open these up and die, and now John has suddenly decided that because they're a cousin species of humans, they deserve human funerary rites, which involves burial. So he wants to bury the one who died last time.
Okay, that makes sense. Although, humans have traditions of other funerary rites. Like
Right.
spacing seems to be well, yes.
Burial at sea, sky burial in places where it's very cold and you can't dig into the...
Yes.
Right? But, I mean, a lot happens in this scene. One of them is that Aaron asks Dargo, hey, do you want to talk about it?
Yeah.
Aaron!
Look, Dargo, if you want to talk.
I'm not ready.
How far you have come.
Well, I mean, it's warriors among each other, I suppose.
And at the same time, Aaron,
Yes.
physician, heal thyself. If you can do this for someone else, why can't you?
Come on, we already know that.
Yes, I know. Doctors are the worst patients.
Yeah.
But she is a very good, therapist, friend. She's attentive. She realizes that he's in pain, that he's got some stuff to work out, and she actually does want to help.
And he's like, yeah, I'm not ready to talk about this yet.
Yeah, fair. She respects that.
Yeah, totally. So there's a little bump into the ship that is still sitting in their docking port.
Yeah, do you have a fun nickname for that?
No, I haven't thought about it yet.
Because it's got all these fun shapes on it.
Nodules, yes.
Yeah,
the Bat Dragon 2, I mean...
Don't. No, nobody Google that. Protect yourselves. See, I didn't have time to think about, cool nicknames or whatever because I was too busy looking at Dargo's new outfit. Somehow...
I noticed he has this new little headdress thingy.
Actually, that's the only part that's the same.
Oh, okay.
But
sorry.
bless you. No, he's had that since the beginning. That was actually... so that little sort of leather strap over his head was actually a day 2 edition when the first rushes came in of Dargo, who originally didn't have that.
Okay.
Then the notes came back from the studio. I think it was the Sci-Fi studio in the States that said his head looked like a knob. So there's too much flesh. Can you break it up?
Okay.
And it's actually really useful because that sort of leather part is now used to hide the seam between the helmet that he wears to carry the Tenkas and the actual face part. But so that part's the same. The rest is... he's joined the leather crew.
He's gone a bit wider in the shoulders too. I mean, he was already quite wide, but he's now approaching square dimensions.
Yeah. It's he's gone very 80s. He got the look. Oh, I love this. I love that he finally also gets leather. He was the last one who was sort of holding out.
I liked him in his I don't know, silks or velvets or whatever it was.
Yeah, it's very regal, isn't it?
Yes.
For a warrior culture, they wear very fancy clothes, these Luxons, or at least Dargo.
So, meanwhile, Zhaan is still deteriorating. Also developed a bit of a discoloration on her forehead, which to me, again, it looks almost like she's starting to bloom or something like that.
Right, yeah.
It's like this blush that plants suddenly develop, which actually makes sense because a lot of plants, when they are about to die, put out one last final effort to to go bloom, and it's like they know they're dying, so just desperately try to get one more flowering out in order to do a bit more of a future preservation. So that kind of makes sense to me.
I kind of like that.
Yeah. Also, I think my theory is slowly being confirmed that Zhaan is going to be put in the soil somewhere and for a regenerative cycle type thing.
That is the intention.
Right.
That's what Stark said. He found those maps, or he bought those maps last time for an exorbitant price that he volunteered. We're talking about last episode now, but he gave them a tip that was equivalent to a year's wages.
Yes.
Yes, Your Eminence, thank you.
Because the servant class is always underappreciated.
Yes, and even to Zhaan's comments that he was tipping too much, and Zhaan is usually a very generous person when it comes to that sort of thing. Yes.
So he says that Stark is there, sort of approaches in a sort of very gothic way. He approaches from the shadows and his face is gradually revealed, and he says we're less than an hour away from a planet that's going to heal and rejuvenate you with the right weather and soil conditions. Zhaan is not fully acceptant of it.
No,
right?
She's not.
She's accepting death, and it would be nice maybe to be planted, but that's not what she's counting on at this point. Not so much for Stark.
Which is peculiar, but yes, I mean, Stark's suffered a lot of loss, and I guess he is very reluctant to lose Zhaan now that they officially have gone into relationship status.
Yeah.
John, meanwhile, is low-key annoying Pilot by bouncing the ball off this Pilot's clamshell.
And I don't know why, but he looks sort of annoyed, as if he's being jolted by it.
A planet meeting Zhaan's atmospheric requirements is less than an hour away.
Also, I noticed that the camera angle on Pilot is a little bit wider than normal. Normally, his head kind of fills the clamshell, and now there's a little bit more distance to it.
We can get the full width of his cranium.
Yeah.
Because, John's just up there monitoring command. I guess someone always has to be there just in case something happens. And he's not really taking Pilot very seriously.
No.
Because we know where we're going, we know what we have to do, and then Pilot says, yes, but actually...
So hitch it up, baby. Come on, let's go.
I simply thought you'd like to see this before it went away.
What?
And I thought Pilot was very unusual. He was very panicky and uncoordinated already here. He's very, very, very unpilot. Normally he's quite himself and very in control. But here he is very much, odd and uncoordinated and just generally difficult.
He's almost playing it as if he's being jolted by the ball that Crichton keeps throwing, but maybe he's already being confused by the data that comes out, because the thing that he wanted Crichton to see
is a wormhole.
Holy.
Right outside the window.
Yep, and rapidly approaching.
And Crichton just immediately starts yelling science shit. Here comes the science shit.
Pilot, take readings. Complete spectrum roll, diffuse electron analysis across the electromagnetic range. It's only theoretical, but look for a dimensional bend in the halo effect.
Cool. Did you notice how incredibly scientifically competent he is again, and with concepts that we are unfamiliar with? I mean, I don't know how to
technobabble wormholes.
Well, I was going to say integrated Lorentzian field, but yes, technobabble. But I know that they exist, or do they? Or maybe they don't.
Yeah.
Maybe they. I don't know, but they either do or don't exist, and that either does or doesn't matter. That's how physics works.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's just about what you can prove.
So you like deep space physics too?
Yeah.
Or what you can state and nobody else can refute, I suppose.
Yes, that's the falsification method that we employ since Karl Popper really contemplated how difficult science was. Anyway, he's yelling all of his science shit and asking Pilot to take a parabolic around it so he can take his module out real quick and take some readings. Knowing that will delay their journey to Zhaan's healing planet. But that's a call he wants to make. He even says, it's my call.
Yes.
Which I guess whoever happens to be on the command gets to make those calls in those moments.
Then we have the intro break. So I was having a bit more of a listen to that. And I noticed that if you listen to John's text, he suddenly sees himself as the protector of Earth against anything that might come through. Because he specifically says, I don't want to open the doorway because Earth is not ready. Making it sound like the moment he finds a way home, Earth is going to get invaded by everything happening out here in the uncharted territories or even the charted territories.
Yeah. Well, Let's take this as a read of his mental state now. I mean, it's not something that he's been talking about with anyone on the crew, but he wants to go home.
Yes.
But he knows what's out here. He's suffered quite a bit in this part of the universe. He's not as as naive and sweet as he was in the beginning. He's been constantly hunted by powers that he can't oversee. Will he be breaking Earth's innocence if he returns with those pursuers in tow? Now, fortunately, Scorpius doesn't seem to be on his tail. As far as they know, Scorpius is dead.
Yes.
So they're actually kind of okay now for a change. It's weird to think about.
I think so, yeah.
And you think, with all, everything is going to be just fine, but no.
I guess which is why there's no direct stress. I mean, there's like the stress of Zhaan dying and dealing with that, but other than that, everything is... that's just like normal show-level stress. So, after the intro, we have a confusing scene on command where things are wrong. There's like weird shit all over command. Big white pipes and struts and everything, and a different alien.
Yes.
Is that Ben Browder's wife again?
Oh, yes, I thought so as well. It's not. It's a different actress, but
okay.
Yeah, she's got the same kind of. I don't know. I was going to say she's got the same eyes, but she's always had like full like eyeball covering contact lenses on. So who knows what they actually look like?
Yes, Nyala,
very good
from The Lion King, I believe.
No, oh god. Can you feel the love tonight?
Or in this case, the poison darts.
Ooh, yeah. Okay, so we got the intro before the opening credits, which is that Pilot was very confused about some readings, that something was approaching that he could see but not see. It was impossible, couldn't be there.
There's a ship approaching, I think.
Where?
Not sure. These readings can't be.
Pilot, save the golly gee whiz for later. Just tell me where it is.
It's traveling too fast. Too impossible.
All right, so far, I got not sure, can't be, and impossible. Where the hell is it?
There.
And what we saw was out of the mouth of this wormhole, a spiral-shaped ship, we now know, appearing in chunks.
Oh, I don't think it was spiral-shaped. I think the spiral thing is just a wormhole visual effect. Because like later when we see the ship like stuck straight through Moya, it's just one.
It is not. It is, in fact, a spiral. We'll look at those those gifs. Like, imagine a helix made of long sticks in the axis of travel. So that's the kind of... I guess it's like if you peel the core of a toilet roll. You know, the cardboard
I see what you mean, yeah.
Right?
Okay, yeah, I'm looking at it. And to me, I thought it was just like a visual effect from the wormhole.
Yeah, it's hard to see that structure because you're seeing it from the front, and it's almost like these components are sort of growing, like it's exiting a four-dimensional, space, it's four-dimensionally entering three-dimensional space and arriving here, and thus, because it was still forming, and here's some more technobabble about that.
We were regaining dimensionality when our ships collided and must have been subjected to a massive burst of photonic distortion.
Alien penetration of our vessel!
An impact during phase resolution!
What the hell did you do to Moya?
Yes, thank you. It actually materializes wedged inside Moya and punctured through.
Yes, so there's like some weird stuff that kind of like merges these things because like...
Yeah.
Occasionally we see... Most of the shots are Moya with extra bits bolted on.
Yes.
And then there's a few shots which are meant to be the command center of the alien ship.
Yeah. I thought it was brilliant. We have all these sort of pylons and diagonal tubes and pipes, and it's all very 70s sci-fi.
Yes, a lot of their like tech, the little wormhole scanning device we see later in the episode also has like it's just jumble of pipes and plumbing.
Yeah,
stuck
and
together.
Chromed or white.
Yeah.
The aliens, which I think canonically are called Pathfinders, just because they don't give their species name. They're wearing these sort of silver jumpsuits. And they have these great faces. They have like a sort of reptilian / fishy look. They have oversized upper lips and this beautiful mother of pearl effect on the skin.
It's the Botox aliens.
Oh, yes.
No, it's the liptide injections, not Botox.
Liptide?
Liptide, I don't know. It's basically
like lipids.
Fat, yeah,
you mean,
lipids.
Okay, yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah, for the extra,
right.
the sort of.
And we have a
overbite.
scene which is very similar to the first time that John appears on Moya.
Hi. My name's John.
John.
Can't understand
I suggest getting to see him quickly. You know how Luxons can be.
Yep. First of all, everyone's really aggressive.
Lots of gun waving around, mostly by John and Aaron.
But it's John who realizes from what these Pathfinders are mumbling about, hey, they don't understand each other. They don't understand us.
And they actually talk to each other and go like, oh, so many languages, yet they understand each other.
Yeah.
And John does orders like, Diardi, stab him.
Nyala gets stabbed in the foot, and that sets off their aggression once again, and he goes, no, wait.
Fight while you have strength!
Oh, no, stop, please, just wait. Just... My name is John Crichton. Can you understand me?
My name is John Crichton. Like the words that he first tried to make contact with. Hi, my name is John. And then he didn't get to finish that first time. He gets to make first contact properly.
Yes.
He's doing it right.
This seems to disarm the situation a little bit, but Pilot is not in good straits.
No, he is barely responsive. He's being lit from below with blue and red. He looks... It's sort of bisexual lighting, but he seems not to be enjoying it because he is puking green ooze, splashing that all
Mostly
over
over Stark and Dargo.
Just calm down, Pilot, and tell us how you feel.
I feel... I had no idea that he could do that.
I had no idea anyone could do that. I apologize.
Mostly Starko. Yes. I guess they kind of aimed the bucket of green goop mostly at Stark because the makeup crew was going like, no, don't put it on Dargo, don't put it on Dargo.
Yeah. I think it's with very good reason that like Zhaan and Chi aren't here for that very same reason.
Like with Stark, we can just wipe it off. Like his mask is washable. It's fine.
Also, reportedly, I saw also a little chat with Paul Goddard, who plays Stark. When he was asked about what Pilot's puke was like, he was like, actually, a lot more delicious than you'd think. He really had to play the disgust. That's a really nice sort of carroty.
I was going to say, I can imagine they just some sort of jello or whatever it is. Like, you might as well make it sweet at that point. So we also learn at this point that Moya is still in the wormhole.
Yes.
They are flying through the wormhole, and we get these little jolts and stuff that signify the transference between one wormhole space to the other, because we are told by Nyala, and now we have one of those scenes on the bridge of the Pathfinder ship,
which is great. It looks like an old school TARDIS.
It does a bit, or maybe like the Crystal Entity ship from the original Battlestar Galactica without the blowout lighting.
Oh, very good. Also a little bit like Krypton in the 1979 film. I mean, it's all just like white pipes and gleaming plastic and metal that you don't understand, and it looks so clean. And yeah, she's explaining a lot about wormhole physics. Now, can you repeat it back to me as she explained it? Do you sort of get the structure that she's talking about?
Right, there are like wormholes travel in groups.
Wormholes always gravitate toward each other in segmented loops.
They hunt in packs, and you have to be careful that you don't show any weakness, because then they can...
wait. No. They can smell fear.
Yes.
That's what... Okay. They're very, very close.
First jolts mean we've exited one fragment of wormhole, and then quickly into another. They're bumping out through the perimeter wormholes, which are kind of like traveling around the one that they are in, or something like that.
So the way she explains it is that wormholes are a structure of connected loops. Mm-hmm. So any one wormhole will just loop and loop and loop, but intersects with other wormholes, and at those intersections, it's also possible to transition to real space.
It actually happens constantly.
Say that again.
And that's where they have something called a Phas-Tillon generator. Mm-hmm. Which I really like that was named, and it's obviously such a sort of science fiction word.
So we'll activate your phase...
Phas-Tillon.
And then later on, like, Aaron repeats it back to her.
Am I wrong, or is your Phas-Tillon generator the key?
Correct pronunciation, and yes.
And I sort of like that. Yeah. Right?
But yeah, you get this effect where they are bumping in and out through the wormholes, as Rygel says.
Wormhole. Normal space. Wormhole.
Yes, as they're making loops around where...
Yes.
Because Moya is stuck in the space between, in the sort of penumbra of the wormhole wall. So it's all especially chaotic. I mean, this is the most we learn about how wormholes work so far ever. There's a beautiful sort of spherical CGI creation, and it shows that these aliens, these pathfinders, were on a scientific vessel where they were studying wormholes. They're very much like Zhaan in that regard. They were gathering wormhole data that they need to return.
They actually know. Well, Zhaan wasn't studying wormholes. He
No,
just happened to
correct.
get thrown away through one. But yes, and I noticed there was a little bit of amusing tension between Yala and Zhaan about that. When Zhaan seems to know a lot of about wormholes, and he wants to know a lot more, and then she's just a little bit dismissive. Clearly he knows a little bit about what he's talking about, but. It's just one of those non-wormhole people. It's we have to deal with those all the time, every time this kind of bullshit happens.
Yeah, they didn't even know how to use the 3 seashells.
Yes.
Do you understand any of those words?
Yeah, I watched all kinds of Star Trek. It's just the order they're in.
You said you studied wormholes.
Oh, Zhaan is looking out the window and she's seeing some stuff. One of the things she sees is through the haze of the wormholes rushing by is a planet that, it has a continent that looks an awful lot like the northern United States.
Right, but it can't be, because I looked at it. You have the moon, which is kind of like the right size, and then you have this Hudson Bay type thing. But then, if that's true, then all the right side of that thing should be an ice cap. And it's not. So it's I was wondering, is this Earth or is this not Earth?
No,
and this is going to come back. But now that I look back at it at GIF, I can tell that it's no, it's meant to kind of look like Earth and make this suggestion, but it's definitely not.
And she also sees a weird sort of shadow that looks like a
snake.
creepy body, a snake. Yes,
like it escaped from the Matrix. As we know from Gigi Edgley, the Matrix was being filmed on the other set right next to it. So I guess one of the snakes must have escaped. And
but she interprets that as a harbinger of her impending death, as if it's a sign. Which Stark rejects.
Yeah, I totally missed that out of first time round. Only when that thing appears later again, I kind of caught on that. Yeah,
because he says that he can't lose her and that he has a darkness within him. Because every time he helps someone cross over, he can't help but absorb a little bit of them.
Over the cycles, the endless parade of death, I've accumulated a vast reservoir of evil.
Okay, little segue here.
Yeah, bring it.
In the book that we bought with the funds from our patrons, the Farscape role-playing game, there's actually a section about Bannics.
Ah, okay.
It's basically all the known races, or many of them, have a little section.
Yeah, because it covers seasons 1 and 2.
Right. So there's some interesting stuff about the Bannics. So I believe the.
Oh, are you gonna quiz me?
I'm going. No. Oh, actually, I could Okay, what are the Bannics called, which have the glowy part showing? Do you know that?
Oh, yes, Stykera.
Very good.
They're called. That's what Scorpius specifically was looking for. He wanted not just another Bannic, but another Stykera.
Yeah, so it's a gap in their corporal form, and it shows their actual non-corporal beingness.
Oh.
At least according to the.
I
don't know if that's considered canon or not.
No, but it doesn't contradict anything. It's just additional. So are they all? Okay, are they all corporeal and spiritual? But Stykeras have a sort of gap.
Yeah. Yes, and they kind of usually cover that up, because if they're not prepared to control it, to
contain their energies,
it might damage them.
So it's like it's sort of like a disability. Like he should have,
kind of, but it also
should have a full covering.
But it also gives them opportunity to help people take away pain and help them ease into the next life.
I wonder if they all have that on their head, or whether there's some Stykera out there with just a codpiece that they can never remove. Even
well, it's just a bit of glowing light. A lot of people go wide-eyed when you remove your codpiece in front of them, so I can see how that would happen. But yes, it turns out, according to the role-playing game, Bannics are conceived in non-corporeal space, and they spend about a cycle there learning how to control themselves, and only then are they aided by their parents, and they form a corporeal body. And it doesn't really explain if they're born or not, but then they yeah, they materialize in a corporal vessel with help of their parents.
That's lovely. I wonder. I mean, it's tragic that the Bannocs are known as the Bannoc slave race, which is just gross. That's such a glorious thing as enslaved. But I guess it's like the same happened with the Leviathans. You know, a beautiful, beautiful creature that is exploited and abused by the peacekeepers in general. Wow, that's fascinating. What an incredible gem.
Yes, I mean it's like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. You know, any deviation from the norm will be ridiculed unless it's exploitable.
Oh wow, gosh, yes. That is a pretty awful but apt theme for Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Do you know he's a girl?
Yes, because they have antlers in around Christmas. So yeah, all the reindeer are girls. Yes.
Yep. Okay. Wow.
So back to the show.
Oh, I'm just vibrating. Like, this is the first new Farscape that I've had in 22 years. Thank you. Oh, this is going to be a fun segment. Let's hope that it returns. Okay, yes. Fun is being had by, let me see. Oh, yes. The last time that Dargo and Stark were with Pilot informed them that he was being overwhelmed by the sensory experience of being inside this wormhole wall.
Yes.
Colors, lights, sensations. This region of space, I cannot function under the bombardment.
And that to help him function, he needed to be separated from Moya's sensors. So just go down to the neural nexus and start ripping these sensor connections. I need to not feel what Moya's feeling, so I can think.
Yes.
And that's what it suits Dargo quite well, because he wouldn't mind destroying something.
I noticed, throughout the entire episode, Dargo's style of repairing things is by ripping shit out.
No, but this is what he's doing.
I know, but
severing. Yeah, okay.
Even much later on in the episode, when things seems to have calmed down, he is still just ripping things out of walls. And
but that's Aaron. She let him do that as a sort of therapy exercise. Some people recommend that maybe you try and put an IKEA piece of furniture together as as a relationship building exercise, or sometimes. I mean, here's a block of wood and an axe. And let's just see how you feel in 3 hours.
Yeah. So while he's doing that, Chana comes and has a little poke in. And I think we should explore this little thread between Dargo and Chiana here. And
yes.
Just cover that and not have to come back to it whenever it pops up during the rest of the episode.
Because Dargo is still reeling with the pain. He's not suicidal about it anymore, but he does bring it up all the time. He still doesn't want to spend time with Chiana.
What can I do to help?
2 tiers down, 4 chambers across. Moya's external pressure sensors. Yank them all.
I mean, what can I do about us?
Who is contrite.
Yeah.
And she literally says, when I'm cornered, I don't think straight.
Which Dargo realizes, well, at least now you're speaking the truth.
Yeah. And that's I can kind of relate to that. It's the panic, when you're cornered. As we say in Dutch, a cornered cat makes strange jumps.
Yes. Or a cat with a cucumber behind it that hasn't noticed sometimes. Yeah. It's a curious thing. I don't want to let either of them off the hook, though, because Dargo has been a real garbage person. And Chiana, she certainly used Jothi.
Yes.
Right? This was, sleeping with him was strategic for her.
Yeah.
She did it on purpose, not just because she was really into Jothi, but because he would make Dargo mad, and that is an awful thing to do.
And he was trying to get out of, as she literally says, and Dargo says, you just had to say no if you didn't want to marry me.
Yeah, that's also not true, Dargo.
No, that is very not true.
It is to Chiana's credit that she doesn't throw that back at him, that she takes that one on the chin, but I think she knows that that's bull thread.
Yeah, that is, absolutely. So I think that works actually quite well, because later on in the episode, Dargo... Actually, at first he really doesn't even want to talk to her.
Later, she accepts his rejection by saying, "Well, if you don't need help, then I'll just go away then."
Yeah. Later on, when more things need to be ripped out, he actually just starts by just telling her where to go, and it's actual instructions, and not just take a short walk out of a long airlock.
Oh yeah, I think it's she who says, "Well, I wouldn't mind destroying some things right now." Anyway, yeah.
I'm kind of in the mood to be destructive.
Which. I guess, they can both relate to each other in that moment. Even though they blame each other, they can also relate to each other's pain.
And later on, Dargo goes well, I'm still not okay with what happened, but at least we can be civil.
I cannot take you back, Chiana, but I won't leave you alone in pain.
Wow. That's really kind of big.
Yeah, that's giving up a lot. I mean, at least doing a lot of acceptance and jumping over his own shadow.
Yeah. I mean, I guess he's had some retail therapy in the meantime. He went out somehow between the last episode and this one. He went shopping and bought himself a new outfit.
Yeah, he might have just like finally managed to cosplay his new outfit together from the scraps whichever were laying around the ship somewhere.
I don't know, man. This looks like a kick-ass outfit that he's wearing. It's so symmetrical and really shows off his tits real well.
Another little episode is happening. Like when the situation started happening, everybody started taking charge, going places, looking at things, taking care of stuff. And Rygel goes like, "Why is nobody asking if I'm all right?"
Yeah.
Ruptures everywhere.
Dan, Dargo, you guys okay?
I am, but Moya is frilled.
Anyone here from Aaron?
What about me? No one asks about me.
And when they all took different jobs to do, everyone's been so competent in this episode.
Aaron, I need you to take Niala's countdown. The rest of us are going to seal the breaches before starburst. I have the auxiliary conduits.
I'll check the Hammond side hatches on the way to command. Move it. Now. Go.
I'll go to pilot.
I'm close to the Celtic vent.
And I'll take the cargo bay.
Which, I mean, it seems actually useful.
Yes, and which is where he is now messing around with one of the pods, and he's like tightened some valves or loosened them when he shouldn't have, and it has opened up the last of the 3 pods.
What did you do? I was checking the hangar. This started leaking.
It regulates with self-venting.
I tried to close the valve, but it wouldn't turn.
Because it was already sealed.
Then I twisted the other way.
Rygel, you opened it.
What were you expecting when it opened? Did you have any kind of expectations?
No, I was just like, okay, there's going to be a person in here. I was like, all my expectations in this were, why are they doing this? What's throwing this in? And that kind of lingered through the rest of the episode. From a
why who?
From a show writer. From a production standpoint, why are they throwing this character in here? And to be honest, that kind of lingered through the rest of the episode, where Red Sonja, whatever she's called,
Jelushko to knife and to Huvalis.
Right, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I will not be repeating that.
Jelushko to knife and to Huvalis.
What do they call you for short?
My whole name.
Ask me who plays in The Fifth Element sometimes, or what that one village in Wales is called. Because I spent a lot of my life practicing those things, and I don't get a lot of opportunity to show off.
I'm sure I will definitely ask you again what Red Sonja's is called. So yes, I was kind of wondering, because like she doesn't really seem to serve a purpose in the rest of the episode.
Right.
There's a little bit of gun standoff, and she seems to think very highly of herself to be some sort of royalty or some other higher life form. She immediately dismisses John as a Sebastian.
You know me? My race?
Sebastian. Intellectually suited to carry weapons and die marching in formation.
Good for holding weapons.
But very little other than that. Also seems to have a weird little anger streak when her ginger hair goes bright red.
Yes, that was there was a bit of an argument between Dave Elsey originally created this design for the Interions, and specifically this character of Jewel, and he gave her red hair.
Wait, I thought the Interions. Oh no, the Path. Oh, this is the Interion.
This is the Interions from the cryo boots that they got from the medical facility. Yeah. And he designed her with red hair, and then like the director or producer, they sort of that's a bit much. We should like tone it down to sort of a ginger blonde. And he was like, oh, but the red hair was so cool. And then, like David Kemper apparently came in, angel that he is, as Dave Elsey says. With this compromise, what if her mood changes her hair color and she can be pissed off red?
She's got a mood ring hair.
I mean, how does that work? Like, your hair isn't alive.
I know.
It's,
well, at least not in humans.
Okay, well, I wonder what our cousin species is.
I'm sure that Medusa has something to say about that. But yeah, she's also, other than just her hair, she also seems to have a rather piercing wail. I guess she must be related to banshees or something, because like she's literally got a metal melting voice.
Yeah, which also, how does that work?
Yeah, how does it, like maybe harmonic frequencies or something along those lines. She gets pulled out. There's a lot of guns waving around, but
she doesn't do
she's not impressed, but she doesn't really do anything the rest of the episode either.
So let's talk about the important things. What do you think of her outfit?
I mean, she's definitely part of the Leather Brigade. She's
it's right from the start,
right out of Mad Max again. She's good, which, considering she also has an Australian accent, is very appropriate.
That's Tammy McIntosh. She's an actress who used to be who started out as a gymnast and a dancer, and then became a presenter for a children's program in Australia.
In that outfit?
I don't imagine in that outfit, no, because she's got a collar on, and then she's gone, as you like to call it, gownless evening. No,
this is an actual strapless evening gown.
Strapless evening gown, that's the one.
Yes,
and sleeves, and it's all made out of leather, and she's sort of got this hoop skirt that's half shorts. Like, imagine if you take cargo shorts and you inflate them with helium.
Yes,
and then you sort of set that in really firm leather. That's what she's got going on.
That's a fairly apt description. Yes.
And that's her for the... Actually, we can resolve her whole arc, which is that Rygel is about to tell her how and why her compatriots, who turned out to be her cousins, died. Chiana stops him from saying that. But later on, sort of vindictively, out of vengeance against John...
Yes, he tells her anyway, and
sets her on a murderous path.
Brain samples and a little bit of brain fluid that they needed in order to save John.
Yes, and the way Rygel explains it...
It's a bit misrepresented of what actually is going on and how much concern they've been having for these people, yes.
Yeah, and it leads her to try and kill John with a rifle that she doesn't quite know how to hold or use. The result of which, happily, is that Dargo gets to discover how to get through the field in that ship
which
that he
is
brought
then
aboard,
completely ignored for the rest of the episode.
Yeah. That must have been the moment where you went, two-parter, huh?
It kind of went that way, yes.
Gotta be. Because the core sort of conflict starts now, because their attempt to separate from each other with Starburst is disastrous.
Yes.
It's like an episode of House MD, where the first thing you try kills the patient.
Yeah,
it
knocks Pilot almost into unconsciousness, does damage to Moya.
Irreparable.
Circuits start breaking and popping. There's a little bit of talk about popping out of the wormhole first and then separating the ships maybe, or doing that both at the same time.
But now that this attempt has been made, it is apparently a certainty that only one ship can survive.
Which we only learned towards the end of this episode.
Yes, yeah. I found it confusing, even coming back to it, when that information was delivered.
Very towards the end.
Apparently everyone is convinced of it.
Yeah.
Because what's going to happen is, the next time that they use their Faz-Tillen generator...
Correct pronunciation.
Thank you. One ship will be pushed back into the middle of the wormhole where it can ride out, and the other ship will be popped into real space where it will be atomized.
Well, yes, kind of, because...
By differential shearing forces.
Yeah, and specifically the biomechanical part of Moya, because we learned from John... So John goes out in the Farscape module to take readings of the wormhole.
With a gizmo that he gets from the Pathfinders, and for some reason he brings Rygel.
What's happening?
It's your basic ass-kicking wormhole, Ryge. How you doing back there?
Lousy!
Excellent.
I actually have that as a note. Why is Rygel being brought along here?
I think maybe just to get him away from Jewel.
I mean, Rygel gets slapped around a lot during this episode, but after they've been, taking the readings by going around this bunch of wormholes for a while.
This loop.
Apparently 17, and then there's the big gap, and Rygel's sitting there looking out the window going, wormhole, real space, which I think we've already covered.
Yep.
And then Rygel goes well, next time we get there, just jump out and stay out, and we'll be safe.
Does it ever bother you being selfish?
It's self-preservation, and no.
What about our friends?
What friends? We were thrown together against our will, and we're all just trying to make the best of it until we can get the chance to screw the others and get what we want. I vote out at the next gap.
And he actually sort of reaches for the controls and...
We're free! Escape! Save our lives!
And actually makes that happen. Because apparently John is not allowed to tell Rygel what to do or make decisions for him, but Rygel is perfectly all right to make those decisions for John.
Spoken like a dominar.
Which he is, and which he always will be. Which Zhaan apparently uses against him to make a certain good decision.
Actually, yes, let's follow Rygel's thread here for a bit. Because this is what happens. He's in the module with John, the White Death Pod, making a few loops of this wormhole, and he decides to exit because they can. Right? And they can survive this situation. Mm-hmm. And John is very upset with him and given that he can't turn around and grab him in the
he just like elbows him in the face several times.
Over and over and over until he's broken Rygel's nose.
Son of a bitch.
You break my nose.
You ain't got a nose, Guido. You got slits.
Oh, I won't forget this, Crichton. I swear you've attacked me for the last time.
You brought it on yourself, Rugrat.
Which is like, he's got green snot drooling out of his nostrils.
Yeah, he's even got a little bandage over it later on. And we see him at one point in Zhaan's apothecary.
Yes, I call it the Dargo cosplay.
The what?
The Dargo cosplay, because he's got this nose shield over his face.
Oh, I like that. Yes, he's... Oh, that'd be so interesting to see Rygel cosplaying Dargo.
What did you say?
Yeah, he's putting together like an assassination kit, I think. Poisons or needles or whatever.
Oh, the knife, the little bris knife that he's stolen from... Or I guess it's just a scalpel, but,
And Zhaan confronts him about that.
Do you hope someday to be Dominar, Rygel?
I am still Dominar. Always Dominar.
I mean ruling from a throne instead of a throne sled.
They'll never know if I kill Crichton.
But you will.
And she...
actually talks him out of it. Ish. At least gets him to put the knife down.
Fool the others if you like. But I see the larger goodness in the small Hynerian.
She reminds him that he's better than this.
Yes.
Which is a really interesting way to... She's very stern about it. And
yes.
She just asks... She holds her hand out like, give me that. You don't actually want to do this.
And so I'm wondering about this. Is this some cultural thing where this is like Dominar doesn't kill people, Dominar has people killed? That's kind of what I'm suspecting is going on here right now. Where she's going you're a Dominar. You're not like, you don't kill people. You have staff for that.
That's such a cynical reading. I mean... I kind of find it hard to argue with. I mean, I thought that this was such a beautiful moment because, she is compassionate toward him at his level. He is appreciated. He even says,
have I ever told you that I appreciate your counsel?
And she says,
continuously by accepting it.
Yeah.
She never needed him to say it. And I thought that was so sweet because she recognizes the larger goodness in the small Hynerian.
Right.
But now that you've explained it, that he's interpreted it, I should have someone doing my assassination for me. Yes, you're right. So... I mean,
it seems to be much more in character for Rygel.
Yeah, he's really returning to type.
Yeah.
He's really much more, early first season Rygel now than he has between. Because, as we've established, he has made no character growth whatsoever.
No.
Unlike Chi, who, she suffers because she wants to live, but she also loves...
It kind of makes more sense because Chi is canonically a teenager.
Yep.
Rygel is 800 cycles old at least.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that just like a cycle on Moya doesn't really change his character.
Not really.
No,
Okay.
Right, so we were following the thread of John in the pod.
Yes, because...
when he comes back, apparently all the Moya components kind of got fried. And that's what we were talking about, yeah.
Yes, here's how the argument is. If Moya is the one who is brought... the safe exit is into the wormhole. Mm-hmm. And exiting into real space through the wall, that is unsafe and you'll be automatically atomized.
Yeah.
Now, for Moya to enter the wormhole is actually, she's not a wormhole-capable craft, say the Pathfinder.
Right.
Her design works against her, and John observes all the Moya components, broke down. So if Moya's the ship that goes into the wormhole, she may disintegrate anyway.
Yeah, there might be a problem.
So the Pathfinder craft, the Helix, that one is designed for wormhole travel. So... yeah, they're saying that the optimal path is for Moya to be sacrificed and for the Pathfinder ship to go into the wormhole and then exit to real space. And I mean, it's a really, really harsh decision to make. And I really appreciated how this debate sort of fanned out because you have Team Moya, which is Zhaan and Stark and let me see, I had notes about who was there, but the podcat is on it. Here we go. That is Stark and Zhaan and Dargo versus Rygel and John. Rygel and John are pro Pathfinder.
Yeah.
Weirdly.
Rygel makes sense. John wants the wormhole technology. He wants to be close to the wormhole people.
Yeah. There's a lot playing here.
Yeah. Zhaan is obviously on Team Moya, who she considers to be a protege now.
I mean,
suppose.
Moya
She's
is
been
her responsibility.
Yeah, she's been charged by the
the
builders.
Leviathan god. Yeah. To the point where she realizes, she asks Stark to stay behind in her stead and minister to them in her absence.
Well, that's to the crew, not to Moya. It's herself.
Well, yes, as well.
Yeah.
I could never replace you.
Stark, you must. For me, you must remain here and minister these souls. I'm relying on it.
But I love you.
If I did not feel the same and more, could I ask this sacrifice of you?
Ultimately, the decision seems to be heading toward preserving the Pathfinder ship.
Yeah.
Because that is the part that makes most sense. So now we need to talk about these Pathfinders.
I am Pathfinder Nyala.
Okay, how do you feel about these aliens?
They're very, Star Trekian, I would
Yes.
say.
Almost Buck Rogerian as well.
Right, yes.
In there, right?
They seem to have a very strong hierarchical structure. They also have a little bit of strong rules against getting infested by aliens, which she has already broken by getting stabbed by the translator microbes.
Yeah.
But she'll deal with that. The rest of her crew refuse to be microbed as well. So there's a little bit of discussion, especially with her first in command.
Because then they'll be irreversibly contaminated.
Yeah, with her second in command, and there's a little bit of shouting, especially between Eren when he has to show them around.
More trickery, Nyala. Of course, they would suggest...
You can shut the Frell up, I think, because if you're not going to take the translator microbes, you don't participate.
But they also have their own thing going on, where one of the junior members gets sent out on what's essentially a suicide mission.
Entreaties, Pathfinder.
I do not enjoy sending you to your death, youngling. But options are depleted.
Yes, which we don't know exactly what that is.
No, but it seems to be a little bit of backstabbing, or at least contingency planning. Let's be generous and call it that.
Because it's interesting that you make that distinction. Because what do you feel is the sort of motivation of these aliens? Like, are they villainous?
They're explorers. They're a scientific race, I suppose, or at least these people are.
Yeah.
She literally says that. She asks when she's about to send out her underling, who apparently is a youngster or a trainee or whatever it is, on what's going to be presumably a suicide mission.
I want to live.
More important, do you want your family to live? You know what happens to ours should this ship fail to return.
Will you tell them?
That you thought of them to the end.
And she actually asks Eren if she's ever been responsible for a death of her one of her people. And Eren goes like, well, duh. And then she's like, I haven't. And
This is my first time.
Did you know your crew well?
Enough to steel my determination. On their memory, I will not fail.
In that moment, though, she hopes that Eren will assume that she's talking about Moya, though.
Right, that's what I'm thinking as well, yeah.
But I agree with you. She wants someone to help her process the fact that she just ordered a member of her crew whom she knows and appreciates to her death.
So there is something a little bit funky about these aliens, because this must have to be like some sort of North Korean type society, because there's a literal mention that if we don't come back, then our families are going to suffer or something like that. Yeah. There's a little bit like that. They seem to be benign enough, which I think that maybe Green Guy is the Politburo officer or something, because he's...
Futago, yes, he's from the ministry.
Yes.
Yeah. This is really well written because it positions these Pathfinders as there, but for the grace of God, go,
we.
You bump into Moya, probably things aren't going to go so great for you.
No.
Any space station that they visit turns out to be, infested with a super powerful magic wizard or gets attacked by storms. Maybe that stuff would have happened anyway, but...
Oh, you think that Moya is a bit of a focus for weird stuff? Yeah,
she's a bit of a dread magnet. Look at these episodes. Where is an episode where they just go shopping? And
well, yes,
right,
and nothing happens.
And nothing happens.
No, you either run into Maldis or you run into other.
Maldis again.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, when the storms occurred on the third shopping trip in Sons and Lovers, why didn't they assume it was Maldus again? It was just
it would have been made sense if they did.
This is the universe's sales tax, is that anytime you buy something nice for yourself, you get Maldus.
Way Maldus, yes.
Maldus. Not his style. Not gothic enough.
Okay, I think we've hit on all the major plots here. We followed Chi and Dargo. We followed the decision to separate and to sacrifice Moya because she's in such poor condition.
We see a little bit more of John and his control over his own mind space now, because while he is reviewing the photos taken by the weird plumbing device that he's been schlepping around on the module, you can actually see him and Harvey sitting at a make-out point again, where...
It's a drive-in.
I know.
It's a drive-in.
John's sitting on the hood of the car having some sort of drink. I don't see we can actually see what it is, if he's having a beer or a... And Harvey's in the car.
Grumpy
as hell, because Garvey doesn't like to be there.
He doesn't like to be summoned like that.
Yeah.
I resent you calling me here at a whim.
That's the way it works, Harvey. You don't like it, I can toss you back in the dumpster.
John threatens to put him back in the dumpster if he doesn't...
Which is off to the side and sort of open to... Peak Muppets so far.
Yes.
And he's asking for advice, I think. He's asking for counsel. And Harvey's a bad one to ask because, he believes that Scorpius is alive and working on wormholes right now, which is something that John's concerned about. Okay, if Scorpius is out there and working on wormhole technology, we've got to get there first.
Yeah.
Do you think Scorpius is still alive?
Without doubt.
What's he doing with the information he stole from my brain?
The knowledge placed there by the ancients is by now centerpiece of a sprawling new research facility.
If he masters wormhole technology, what will he use it for?
Faster delivery of pizzas.
Because it can be a tool or a weapon.
Which I guess explains why John is, I won't say eager to leave Moya behind, but makes the choice to go with the Pathfinders.
Which is what Harvey recommends.
Yeah.
He says that he's disgusted with John for even thinking, for even, considering the possibility of not taking this fantastic opportunity.
Yes, Harvey would be like that because, Harvey is a Scorpius construct, but still. Okay, so there's one... arc that we kind of have all touched on it a little bit, which is the space worm, the wormhole worm,
serpent. Yeah, the putting the worm in wormhole.
Yes. So Zhaan sees it at the beginning and thinks of it as a omen of her death.
Yes.
The goddess has chosen my harbinger.
The magnificent planet lies just out there to rejuvenate and sustain you.
A serpent lies between.
But it turns out there's actually a creature, which is initially dismissed by Nyala as, they happen. They only live in wormholes. They're probably not even aware of you. They're mostly non-corporeal. Don't worry about it.
The serpent is harmless.
Less than convincing. Try again.
I never imagined that you would encounter this beast. Otherwise, I would have issued warning. You must believe me.
Turns out, not so much. I believe it is
Dargo and Chiana,
who get assaulted by it a little bit. But right at the end, it kind of shows up on command. There's a bunch of shooting, and it disappears again.
Yeah.
But finally, it shows up when John is reminiscing with his little picture viewer.
With his Viewmaster.
Viewmaster, that's the word. That's the thing I was looking for, yes.
Yes. So he's sitting in Pilot's den and really kind of commiserating because he's voting to abandon Pilot, and that's what they have to do.
Pilot is just completely zoned out. I guess the Pilot puppeteers needed a break or something, because most of the time Pilot's just sitting there going like...
Well, Team Rygel got some fantastic work to do because they had to wedge themselves into the Farscape one. Yeah.
Oh, Rygel got some excellent screen time this episode. But yeah, while he's sitting there going through the picture...
and he sees an image of the Three Stooges, suggesting that the Pathfinder vessel passed close enough to Earth through their wormhole travels to...
pick up that image.
Yeah. And that's when he gets attacked by the trouser snake.
Yes.
Because it goes for his pants immediately.
He has to
do the splits to dodge it because it's going for the goods.
He jumps off the Viewmaster, gets knocked to the side.
Sparks. It's broken.
He has to jump across the gap to the bridge, and he ends up there dangling from it with the wormhole snake hanging menacingly above him, his mouth opening like Shai Hulud.
I must not fear.
Yeah.
Fear is the mind killer.
I will have the trouser snake pass through me and... Oh, wait.
And to be continued.
Yes.
Oh. All right. Willies and Woodies.
All right.
She gives me a Woody.
She gives you the willies.
Okay, my willy definitely goes to the beating up that Rygel gets. Like
It is
John,
savage.
Yeah, John just like elbows him in the face like half a dozen times and just like get him to stop. I mean, I can kind of understand why he does it, but still, it just like it gives me the willies.
I'm totally with you. I actually struggled to find willies. I mean, that was going to be mine. I'd honestly thought that maybe your willy would have gone to like the sort of open-ended plot thread of, you already mentioned it, Jewel.
Julushko tonight Fenta Havalis.
Right? That she's introduced, because I remember that from my first viewing.
I wouldn't call that a willy. That's just like, I suppose it's like she's going to play up in the next episode. On the other hand, I noticed like the previous time that they used one of those, it was also kind of a bit of a throwaway. Like,
how do you mean that?
I mean, the last time that they defrosted one of those guys, it also didn't contribute all that much to the plot.
Right.
It's just like, oh yeah, we popped open a can of plot and then we kind of just let it sit on the counter and let it go flat. And it kind of felt like that as well. It's like almost like that they regretted bringing those plots along and are now like getting rid of them one at a time. So I'm hoping that that's going to pick up during part 2 of this.
Okay. Well, okay, you did have a prediction in episode 1 that within an episode, I think you said those pods would become part of the plot. How do you think you fared on that?
Poorly. I mean,
it was kind of...
Yeah, but they're not becoming a thing that they have to go after. Like okay. What I meant was like as a predictor was that they were going to make a concentrated effort to do something with it, to help these people,
to drive the story, which they didn't. Like the first one who just died,
which they totally didn't,
and the rest would have played out the exact same, even if he hadn't.
You'd think so, yeah. There's no search for a way to get these people out of these pods in in a safe and sustainable manner.
To the point where when the last cryopod opens, John's hovering over that, wake up and die.
Yeah.
Hey, Sleeping Beauty. Wake up and die.
Very cynical.
Which she doesn't do.
Not yet, no, but I mean, we haven't had the 30 microts or 30 minutes or whatever they want to call it yet.
It's been a bit of a jam-packed episode.
It is. It's been very busy. So, Woody.
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be harder.
They usually are, in my experience.
Got him. I mean, hard to say. It's like, I would say, like, the general atmosphere of the episode, things are moving along. There's clearly some excitement, which, I mean, of course, all excitement is manufactured, but it doesn't feel that way.
No.
It feels like there's a crisis and everybody is working. I mean, actually, everybody is working positively. Everybody is working towards either fixing the crisis or in the meantime doing a little bit of personal development, working out personal situations.
Yeah.
Even Zhaan, who is dying, has she's like coming to terms with that and helping Stark get to terms with that as well.
Yeah.
The only weird thing in that regard is like the scene between Stark and Aaron.
Yeah.
Where, like, it almost seems like he was hitting on her.
Something wrong?
You're very pretty.
Just, he's with Pilot, she's with Pilot, she's operating the controls.
Yeah.
And for some reason, it's really weird.
It's like it's Picard and Q, like, you know, Q like leaning over Picard's shoulder, drooling in his ear. It's like,
he says, "You're very pretty."
Yeah, where did that come from?
I mean, this may be like the reservoir of evil that's inside him that he's talking about.
Yeah, okay.
And then Aaron, and this is where my Woody goes. My Woody goes to Aaron in this episode. Because she is so practically empathetic.
Yeah.
Like, even in this moment, she hears this weird creepiness from Stark that she doesn't want to deal with. "You're very pretty," and she says,
"But I'm not Zhaan, right? Never be her."
"And I never will be, and I'm going to miss her too." Like, she sees this madness is coming from your grief. That's where we're going to talk.
Yeah, I'm not going to be your bounce back.
Not that she's even interested,
no,
I'm sure.
Of course not.
She's also like, the way that she talks to John, they've got a great shorthand between them.
Mm.
You know, she expresses herself in single word instances, all of her doubts, and he responds in kind, and they sort of understand each other. But she's also openly admitting to Dargo that she's worried about John, and his obsession is blinding him.
Yeah. She doesn't get a lot of screen time in this episode, but all of it counts.
Yeah, whenever she does, she understands whatever's happening around her God, physician, heal thyself. If only she could apply that.
Yes.
But yes, we all have, those of us who try to nurture others, we often have blind spots on the inside. Oh, second Woody, kind of like the alien design. It's so 70s. It's so...
I don't think he knows about second Woody.
You fucking broke me. And that's the story so far, Skip.
Join us next week for episode 304. Wait for the Wheel, the second part of Self-Inflicted Wounds, in which the crew prepares to be starkly gutted. Sabotage, spikes, sacrifice, simultaneous schemes, and shedding. There's more than one snake aboard Moya, and Crichton's grandmother is a Robert Jordan fan.
Okay, I'm going to have to look some
Thank you,
things
Jenna.
up. Thank you, Jenna. You can find us at SoFarscape on Facebook and Twitter. The links, that we have many links for you. If you want to submit your own synopses so we can read them, and please do that for season 3. That's at sofarscape.com/submit. If you want to help keep the lights on at SoFarscape Studios and chip in for whatever nonsense it is that we acquire next to help us fuel our research, as we did with the Farscape role-playing book, that's at sofarscape.com/support. And I think there was a third one.
Yes, if you want to submit your own links, have we had that one yet?
We did the synopsis. Oh, well,
Right.
it'll probably come to me, and I'll feel horribly embarrassed when this airs. But in the meantime, I'm Kaki.
I'm Kay.
So Farscape, so good.